Good morning, everyone. So I think we'll get started. Welcome to another webinar brought to you by Digital Main Street and the South Georgian Bay Small Business Enterprise Center. So I'm going to get started with my screen share here. And so just as a reminder, if you've signed on to any of our previous webinars, you will have heard me talk about Digital Main Street. I mean, it's a big part of why I'm here and why we're able to do these webinars. But this is a Ontario-wide program that has been going on for a couple of years. There is a huge team of other digital service squad representatives across the province, and we've been trying to transform the digital marketing of Main Street businesses across the province. I'm still under contract until the end of May, and so I'm available for consultation, support, and service, trying to really help as many businesses, especially right now with their digital marketing, trying to navigate some, different terrain for a lot of businesses right now. So my contact information is there. You can reach out, follow us on social media via the South Georgian Bay Small Business Enterprise Center, and feel free to connect via email if you have further questions or would like to access some of the support and resources that we have available. So today's topic is creating video for social media, and some might ask why. I mean, I don't think a lot of people would ask why, but just to reinforce that, the why video is so important, here are a couple statistics and facts about video. YouTube being the second largest search engine and social media platform in the world. And a lot of people don't really consider YouTube to be a search engine or even social media platform, but it has these capabilities built into it. When you think about it, it's a lot more than just a video platform. And viewers, and this is generally speaking, viewers are 95% more likely to remember a call to action after watching a video compared to 10% when reading it in text. Specifically, this is referring to websites. But, I don't know about you, when I'm searching for how to do something, oftentimes I want to see a video that can help walk me through some how-to steps and really help explain just how things work. By 2022, online videos will make up more than 82% of all the consumer internet traffic. So, I mean, it really just goes without saying that video is such an important part of the internet. It's becoming more accessible. It's becoming more widely used, and therefore, it's just an awesome tool that I highly recommend you using for your marketing. So the first question you might be asking is, do I need a fancy new camera? And what I tell people most often is probably not. If you're just getting started in your video marketing, your phone, your cell phone, or your tablet, or your laptop, your whatever device that you might have is probably proficient enough to at least get you started. There might be a few accessories that you want to buy, but my goal here is to make video just as accessible as possible and give you some tips and some pointers to make that video as good as it can be with the equipment that you have. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the accessories to really make it better. So just starting right off the top, getting started with shooting some video. I always recommend starting with a script. And, you know, a lot of these seem really obvious, but it's really easy to break these rules when you're just eager to get something in market. But, you know, taking time to plan things out is so important, even if it's just an outline. I know for myself, anytime I plan out a video, it's a lot better than when I try and just ad lib or, you know, just go on the fly. I need planning when it comes to video. So writing a script or even just an outline is super, super important. Shooting in a quiet location, again, kind of obvious, but not always so. When it comes to sound, you know, some of the really important things are, yeah, in a quiet location. So maybe in a room where there's not, where you're kind of shut off from a lot of noise. But you also want to consider echo. Echo can be really annoying, and it can also be something that is really easy to prevent. So you can see in the background, I mean, I have some, those are actually sound panels that I just made with some wood. I made a frame and tacked them on the wall. You can do the same with towels and blankets. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Actually, like if you've ever been on a professional film set, I mean, they're often just draping blankets over lots of anything they can find to prevent echo and just get really, really clean sound. So it can be an easy thing to avoid echo, but important to consider. When it comes to microphones, I highly recommend, you know, even if you're shooting on a phone, a good investment might be like a small lavalier microphone. So that is, you know, the ones that you see clipped on your shirt. And you want to get one that's specifically for smartphones, because the attachment head can be a little bit different. But they can be relatively affordable for sure, and they'll really improve the quality of your sound. I mean, even what's interesting is that even if you had a $2,000 camera, the microphones that are, you know, built into these devices are never as good as even just a $40 microphone, because of the fact that you're getting it closer to your voice, or closer to the source, and yeah, they just usually cheap out on the microphone built into most cameras. So I highly recommend that you take a look at some options there. I'm actually using that exact Rode microphone hooked up to my camera right here, and that's why you can hear me so well. So a couple questions there regarding microphones, and sorry, I've been slacking on just checking my questions here. But yes, to answer, so someone's asking if this slide deck will be presented. Yeah, I will put a link to everyone at the end of the presentation to download this slide deck. There's some links as well to some additional resources. Someone else is asking, would an iPhone headphone set with mic be sufficient? And yeah, I guess technically you can get away with that. Like, it's up to you whether or not, you know, the look of having that in your ears is appropriate for your video. You know, interestingly enough, with all of this pandemic going on, I don't know if you've noticed, like TV shows and things, you know, they've been having to think creatively about how to shoot with social distancing being such a big part of our lives. And I was watching, okay, I'll admit, I watched Tiger King recently, and they released a follow-up episode where they did interviews with some of the people in the documentary, and they you could tell that what they've done is they had actually just shipped an iPhone to the people in the documentary with the wireless earbuds, and they filmed on the iPhone, and the earbuds had the microphone built in. So to answer that question, yeah, like a headset, I mean, if it's wired, you see it, but you know, it's still actually really good quality, that might even be good enough for Netflix. So keep that in mind, that you know, there's a lot of different options. Someone else is asking about a wireless microphone. Probably not. You know, like if your arms reach from your camera, if you're just doing a kind of point and shoot or like a simple setup, a wireless microphone is not really necessary. So I think that's all the microphone questions. Again, we'll have more time at the end if you've got any more questions about that. Number 3 is just keeping things really stable. So, you know, a tripod, again, does not have to be a very expensive piece of equipment, but it's probably the most used piece of equipment that you'll need for just shooting some video of yourself as you create marketing videos. You know, if you're just going to be talking to camera, setting up your phone, leaning up against a bookshelf can work, but it can also be really problematic. Actually, I did a video, Facebook Live, which I'm doing every Tuesday at 10 a.m. And last week, I mistakenly did the video on a laptop on my child's little play table. And the end result was unfortunately very wobbly because I just didn't consider the fact that that table was not very stable. So, you know, again, just a tripod, and what I've got pictured here is just a really simple clamp that you can clip your phone into, and that attaches to a tripod so that you can just set up your phone on a tripod and shoot completely stable. You're not leaning it up against anything, and it's a great solution for shooting with your phone. So number 4 is about lighting. And so if you tuned into our photography workshop, we talked a lot about lighting as well. So similar, or basically the exact same principles apply in that, you know, it's really recommended that you shoot near, like facing a large window. That's exactly what I've got going on. I have a little LED light as well to add more light because it is a bit overcast today. But when you shoot facing a window, it just gives a really nice soft light, and it can be really pleasing. So on the flip side, if you have a big window behind you, your camera is trying to balance out the amount of light, and that's called backlighting. When there's a bright light behind you, you're gonna just appear as mostly shadow, and it can be not the best look. So if you just turn right around and film the other way, it's gonna be a lot brighter. It's gonna look a lot more professional. And you also wanna avoid direct sunlight. So what happens when you're in bright sunlight, you know, you're squinty, there's harsh shadows on your face, and just stepping into a shaded area, like if you are shooting outside, a shaded area can just really help to reduce those shadows, give you a nice softer light on your subject, and it's going to look a lot better. If you have if there's a lot of bright sunlight still in the background, you might get some blown out highlights. So what I mean by that is that when it's too bright in the background, it'll just be very white. So you can try to avoid that by just not shooting, pointing towards a bright light in the background, because then it can, again, turn into some backlighting situations. And number 5, be your most energetic self. This can be a really tricky one for people, but if you think about it, I mean, it's one of the easiest things to fix. It doesn't cost anything. It can be really fun to just try, breaking out of your shell, being really energetic, having fun, and don't forget to smile. A lot of, even as a director, producing a lot of videos, these are 2 of the things that I find are a bit of a challenge with some subjects. It can be hard to just remember to smile, because a lot of times you might be thinking about what you want to say and how to say it and making sure that you get that right, but you're forgetting about keeping it really energetic and fun and lighthearted and smiling. And that's all you got to do. Just keep smiling, and it's going to be a lot better than if you're just talking slowly and really drab. So aside from, filming video, there's also some options I wanted to talk about that involve animation. So, a lot of people might just not want to film their own videos. They don't feel comfortable, and that's okay. There are options for creating animations without even knowing how to draw. So just wanted to share a couple of those drag and drop platforms that are pretty simple to operate and to create some of your own animations. So if you think about like an explainer animation or just an information piece, these can be a really great option. So there's Powtoon, Animatron, and Animatron, actually, they have 2 branches. So when you click on that link, there is a version they have, or one platform that's a little bit more like live action marketing videos. So they have, I think, stock photography, and they can do transitions and text on screen. Probably good for something like Instagram and, creating marketing promotions there. But then they have another platform that's, again, just more of a hand-drawn animation kind of approach. So cartoony, different illustrations and things that you can choose from and create your own animated videos, which is really cool. And then Beyond is another one. And then I've got even more links to more of these platforms because they can be really cool. They do have quite a few limitations, I gotta say, but if you, for someone who can't draw and has no experience with creating animated videos, they can be a really great option because it is actually quite simple, and you can create some really cool stuff. So with that in mind, so considering that you've got a video, what do we do with it? Where do we post it? How do we post it? Let's talk about getting that video out to your audience and getting it seen by as many people as possible. So here's a few quick tips on posting your video. Just some things to keep in mind. And these are general statements that usually apply to most platforms, and we'll go into a little bit more detail in a couple slides down. So number 1, create video for the platform. So I'll talk a little bit again, as we move on to some of the limitations, some of the pros and cons of different platforms, and how we can create videos specifically for those platforms. So one example is horizontal versus vertical video. right? This is something that you want to consider before you start shooting, based on what platform you're going to post it on. And we'll talk more about that. Number 2, customize your thumbnail. So again, this is a standard feature from YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, being able to pick that thumbnail, because that's a big part of why someone might click on your video to watch it. You know, I think it's Murphy's Law that by default, that thumbnail is always the most awkward photo of you, like blinking mid speech. And so therefore you really want to either scrub through the video and find an appropriate frame, you know, the smiling frame, or have something designed, or, you know, whip something together for yourself, maybe with a title on it that can really help give some context to what's in the video, what people can expect when they click on it. Ensure captions are available. So again, across the board, Instagram is the only platform that will not, doesn't have a built-in caption kind of generator. So if you can add captions to your video, you know, it's really important. Facebook and YouTube have an auto generator that is pretty effective. The Facebook caption, the Facebook captions can be finicky to customize or to edit, but it's certainly better than the way it was, where you had to upload a Word file with, you'd have to actually transcribe the entire video and then upload it. Now they have a system where you can just click auto generate, and then you can just go in and edit a few things where they've misunderstood what you're saying. So captions, we'll talk a little bit more about why those are important. A lot of people know that now, but we'll talk more about that. Number 4, fill in the details. So really make sure that, you know, your title is descriptive, and your description is there as well. So you want to fill that up with lots of information about what people can find when they watch the video. And that helps for a variety of reasons, from SEO to, well, and especially when you add links. So if if you're referencing something in your video that you want to link to, make sure you put it in the description. Definitely if it's to your website, because those links will help your website SEO in the long run as well. And then share and share again. So if you've gone to a great deal of effort, or even sometimes money, to create a video that is just really great and promoting your business, don't just share it once. I mean, you can share it on every platform that you're on social media. Be sure to you can reshare it in 6 months' time. You know, a lot of people probably wouldn't have seen it the first time, and so there's no harm in really getting the most out of your investment, even if it's time and energy, by resharing that video over and over again, or whenever it's appropriate. So let's talk about live video. There are a lot of benefits to creating a live video. Number 1 being that they get higher priority. So on Facebook, when you do a live video, your followers will get a notification directly that says, hey, this business that you follow is doing a live video, check it out. And you can click through and tune into that video. Similarly on YouTube, they give it priority. So they know that, there is, as I said here, there's a sense of urgency because it's live. People want to see what's happening, so YouTube, Facebook, they're going to promote these live videos because they know that there's a higher likelihood that you're going to tune in because it's live and want to catch what's going on. And number 4, that there's often higher engagement with live videos. And that's because of some of the functionality that's available, with like chat features and comments and things. Oftentimes people can ask questions and have them answered in the live video, kind of like this webinar we got going on. So there's a ton of benefits to going live, but I will say sometimes it can be really nerve-wracking, and it's not always for everyone. So there is another option, and it's called a Premiere. So I don't know that I've seen a lot of businesses use Premiere as much as live video, which is interesting. I think it's just one of those features that might be a little bit unknown to a lot. And so I'm constantly talking about Premieres because the benefits are similar to a live video, but it is a pre-recorded video that you can upload. So today, for example, I mentioned that we are doing a Facebook Live every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Well, I had a bit of a conflict this morning, obviously, because we had this webinar scheduled. So what I did was I pre-recorded that video and I uploaded it as a Premiere. And that allowed me to be in 2 places at once. And it creates a post on Facebook that, similarly to scheduling a live video, it allows your audience to get reminded when that video goes live, and they can comment on it. And if I were available, I could be watching that feed at 10 a.m. to interact with the people in the comment section. I wouldn't be able to do it in the video, obviously, but I can certainly be there to respond to comments in the comment section, which is just another way of interacting with people, and it's a great feature. So I highly recommend it if you are nervous about doing live videos. If you want to get started with something like that, it can be a great way to generate hype, give your audiences a reason to tune in, give them, start setting expectations as to when you're going live, or when your videos are premiering, and start building that audience. Moving right along. So again, I mentioned horizontal versus vertical video. What is the difference? Why would you choose one over the other? Well, horizontal is best for audiences on desktop because they've got the widescreen. It's just a natural view that we're all used to. So think of YouTube and TV displays. Now, I will add that YouTube is now able to present or show videos in any format. So whether it's vertical or square or super widescreen, whatever size the video is, YouTube will recognize it and just display it as such, which is a really cool feature. But then vertical video is best for audiences on mobile. So obviously, because it is more natural to just hold your phone like this instead of like this, especially when it comes to shooting a video. This can be really awkward, and that's why shooting vertical videos just become a natural part of the internet, because it's just so much more convenient to hold your phone like this and shoot a video and watch it. The best platform for vertical video is obviously Instagram, IGTV, and it's often favored by younger audiences. And I've seen actually even some music videos that have been released that are just in vertical format on YouTube because it's for a younger audience and that's how they're watching it. So it's great to really consider all these different aspects to what format to use and why, um, and um, and cater to that. I would say, you know, when it comes to IGTV, for example, some people will take a horizontal video and just flip it. So then when you're watching the video, you have to turn your screen, like it's um, it seems logical, but I will say that you know, it's just against the whole concept, or the it goes really against why IGTV has gone that direction of vertical only. And I think it's really important to cater to that, and not try to force people to do something that is a little bit unnatural for the platform. That's my rant about that. um, so let's talk about getting more views. When it comes to YouTube and Facebook, I will, you know, again, title, description, keywords, thumbnail, all these things that I've mentioned before are extremely important. You can embed your YouTube video. You should be embedding your YouTube video maybe into your website or your blogs. Try to get other websites and blogs to embed or link to your video. You can, a big part of YouTube is, as I mentioned, it is a social media platform, right? And that's one thing that a lot of people don't really consider. And when it comes to growing your YouTube channel, a big part of it is that social aspect, you know, in terms of commenting on other videos, creating relationships with other creators, and building up that social aspect. That is a really big part, and it's tough. Like, I will admit that building a successful YouTube channel can be very challenging, because of those reasons. You know, it's such a big platform with so many videos that it's hard to break through that clutter and get that audience to come back and keep watching your videos. Whereas Facebook can be a little bit more direct. You know, a lot of businesses have an easier time building that audience because, you know, the business owner usually has a personal page, and the first thing they do when they create the page is they invite all their friends to like their page. So usually, you know, off the top, when you just starting from scratch, you've got at least a handful of people on your Facebook page who like it, who are going to engage and watch the video. So when it comes to Facebook too, you want to make sure that you upload your video directly to the Facebook platform and not just link out to a YouTube video. It used to be that your YouTube videos would play in the Facebook feed, but they've, I think, you know, realized that as a competitor, YouTube was kind of stealing a lot of their views. So by now not pre-rolling those videos and only linking out to them, they've really encouraged people to post videos directly to Facebook so that they will start rolling in the feed. People can watch them without leaving Facebook. And that's now a huge, huge benefit to why your video should be on Facebook directly. Again, captions, super important. Because of that pre-roll in the feed, the captions will be there by default, and people can watch it without turning on the sound, which is especially important now with, you know, sharing workspaces with your loved ones. My wife's right over there, and just, you know, keeping things quiet and accessible for everyone, right? So when it comes to Facebook, yeah, tag anyone in the video. You can ask your friends to share it. You can share it on your personal page. You can boost that post. Same with YouTube. You know, you can create an ad to help boost that post, get it in front of more people, spend a little bit of money. And you can also embed Facebook videos. A lot of people don't realize that. So the same way that you can embed a YouTube video, you can do with Facebook. It's just a little bit of code that you can copy and paste into, say, a WordPress blog. And what's cool about that is that by embedding that YouTube or that Facebook video into a blog post, people can they can like it as their Facebook profile. They can click through to your Facebook page and interact with it. There's a lot of benefits to that feature, and I highly recommend looking into it. I can always help anyone who is not familiar with how to do that. It's really simple. I have a question here. Two questions. Can you explain what embed actually means? So yeah, really it's because when it comes to putting a video on a website, you need a player, right? So something to actually play that video file. And so by embedding it, you're essentially grabbing the player that is on YouTube and you're just plunking it into your website, so that all of the functionality within that player from YouTube or from Facebook is built in right there on your website or elsewhere where you're putting it. You can, because the alternative is just uploading it to your website, and that way you might do that if you don't want people to link out to your YouTube channel or to your Facebook page. You know, especially if you're doing like a landing page where you don't want people to leave, that might be a good option. But for the most part, embedding it is a good approach to help promote those other channels. So examples of best video editing software. I'll talk about that at the end, actually. Is there a limit lengthwise to videos on Facebook? I do have a slide about length. I think it's coming up, but essentially, let me talk about length, video length in a minute, because it can be a bit of a long rant, but I'll try to avoid ranting too much. One other question, what's the best platform to offer a weekly movement class? How can I get people, how could I control people paying for it and accessing it? That is a good question. That might require a little bit more thought on my part. I can't think of any examples right now, or how to actually set up payment to access or a subscription to access videos. So Kim, if you want to message me or email me directly, I think that's an awesome question, and I would love to work through a solution for that, and I might even do my next live video on that topic, because that's really cool. Just checking the questions again. So while they're pouring in, when do regularly posted videos become too many videos? Can I oversaturate the market? That's a really great question, actually. And no, I honestly don't think there's a way. If there was a point of oversaturation, we're well beyond it in terms of the number of videos out there. You know, and there's a couple of reasons for that. You know, I mean, if you're like, let me give you this example. Like there are certain things that are just never going to change, right? And there are people who are doing how-to videos about these things still, and they're still getting views, even though the videos of how to do that same thing that's never changed has been there since day one. It's about just connecting with a different audience, or connecting with a different personality, and hearing maybe the same story in a different way. And if you are kind of repurposing some content, you're still putting your personality into it. You're putting your own spin on it, and I think that's really important. And so I think there's never really going to be a point where we are oversaturating the market with video specifically. So moving right along, just because we got a couple more slides to get through before we get to questions, but Instagram feed versus IGTV. So this is sort of answering the length question. So Instagram feed can only be 60 seconds, whereas IGTV can be up to 60 minutes. Now that I believe is a verified account, but it's much longer. Instagram feed, you can do square or vertical format. You can actually also do a widescreen format, but IGTV is vertical only. Instagram, you can only upload via mobile, whereas IGTV can be mobile or PC upload. So what's interesting, I did a video series for my business over a year ago, and I was really wanted to make sure that I was posting all my videos on IGTV as well, and I was using the desktop version. I didn't even know that there was a IGTV app, which, maybe I am a little bit behind on that, but I had no idea. I never went and looked for one. I didn't need it. And I thought that was really interesting. So if you are going to be uploading to IGTV, check out the app, or use your PC to upload those videos. Definitely for this 60-minute or like longer video uploads, it does need to be done via a PC and not via your phone. So getting more views on Instagram, hashtags are really important. Again, captions, I can't speak enough about the importance of captions. Tagging relevant people, locations, etc. You can even tag in a separate comment. So this just lets people know, like if they're in the video or if you're mentioning them in the video, it's a good way to just get their attention, and it will hopefully inspire them to share the video and help get more views as well, especially if they have a big audience. There's a ton of people on Instagram who all they do is try and tag their favorite celebrity, hoping that they get tag their favorite celebrity, hoping that they get a mention or something to just blow up their profile. And I got a problem with why is there a line on there? Okay, moving right along. I don't know why there's a line on the slide deck, but we'll just keep moving. So when it comes to building an audience, don't give up. Keep posting. Consistency is key in both frequency and content. So someone did ask the question, quality versus quantity. I see a lot of people get followers based purely on output, not necessarily on quality. And that's a very good point. I mean, from a branding perspective, for your business, I think quality is still really important and should be considered. But at the same time, keeping that consistency and keeping that output can be also important. So it's really a balancing act, you know, between the two, quality and quantity, and making sure that at the end of the day, your viewers, your audience are getting something that they find valuable. So, you know, that's really the most important part. If you're not able to provide that value for your audience in you know, in quality or quantity, you know, you want to consider that and put your effort towards just really making something that your audience is responding to. So definitely keep that in mind. And consider paid media. So, you know, I talked a little bit about boosting posts, boosting videos, and that can be a really great way to encourage more viewership, to build your audience, just by putting a few dollars towards a media campaign and getting that out. And then share. Post those clips of your video in stories on Instagram and IGTV, share on Twitter, LinkedIn. So, you know, I am only speaking mostly about 3 main social media platforms, but there are a whole host of others that you can post your video, you can share your videos, and just help get that word out. When I was doing my video series, I would have a whole sort of checklist of things that I would do once I created the video. And, you know, I would upload it to YouTube, I'd embed it in my blog, and then I would share it on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and then do the same on Facebook. It can be time consuming for sure, but it's really going to help build that audience and get people to see your video content. Writing a blog post about the video is also another great way to get the most out of that video, and it can help with your SEO. So we did an SEO workshop a few weeks ago with Be Visible Web Design, and in that we had mentioned, you know, writing blog posts and how that content can really help elevate your Google listing, and video can do that along with the written content in your blog post. Can attract viewers, but also keep them on your page, which is great for your SEO. Let's talk a little bit about length of video. You know, I hear a lot of people say over and over again, it's clients, it's anybody who is talking about video, people say all the time, people's attention spans are so short, we have to make it short, otherwise they're not going to watch it. And I kind of reject this idea, because, you know, what is universally true is that if it's boring, people aren't going to watch it. If it's engaging, if it's great content, people are going to watch it. Tiger King, great example. I mean, I don't know how great it was. That's debatable. But it was, you know, people are binge watching hours and hours and hours of content. And so I definitely reject the idea that it has to be short, in order to catch someone's attention. It has to be good. That's the main thing. And there are lots of ways to do that. You know, again, just being really energetic and fun and creative are probably the best ways to do that. I will also point out that, so when you upload a video on Facebook, in the publishing settings, where and that's where you would select, like, are you publishing it now, or is it a premiere, or scheduling it? On the side of that toolbar, there is a few little, like, tips, I guess, and one of them suggests that your video should be greater than 3 minutes, and that's Facebook telling you that over 3 minutes will get more engagement. So that's really interesting, you know, because again, like I think this idea of attention spans tends to be more of an anecdotal kind of approach, but Facebook is based, what they're putting out and what they're suggesting is based on just hard data, and I'm gonna go with their recommendations for sure. And that's all I have to say about that. So some additional resources, shooting with natural light. I've included some of these in the photography workshop as well, but here are some links out to this, to some videos that will help explain some of these concepts more in detail, and some stock websites. So if you are, again, just kind of creating something on your own, there's a lot of stock footage options out there that you can purchase for, you know, a few dollars. They can be a little expensive for video, I gotta say, but the option is there. Instead of having to go film something, it can be a lot more cost effective to just buy some stock footage. So Digital Main Street, again, is what brought this webinar together, and there's still lots of digital marketing resources and training available at digitalmainstreet.ca. So I highly recommend, if you have not already created a profile, have a look at that and get started. And that's a good way to connect with me through that platform. Sort of indirectly, once you register, I will reach out, but you can also email me, digitalmainst@collingwood.ca. And questions. So I do see, again, feel free to put some questions in the chat. I've got a couple here. Editing. So yeah, I didn't talk about editing so much. It can be a tricky subject as well, just in that there's a lot of options, and I probably could have put in some of those too. But really, you know, a lot of times I recommend checking out the software that's on your computer. So if you're a Mac user, it's iMovie. It's probably, you know, one of the best free options available for just quickly editing videos, putting in, you know, music or sound, stitching some photos together maybe. That would be a great option. Even Windows Movie Maker, if you're on a Windows PC, Movie Maker, I gotta say, it's not as good, but you know, I've worked with some business owners who have shot their own footage, and all they need to do is clip that part where they're, you know, messing with the microphone or the camera and setting up, and if all you need to do is clip that off, you know, Movie Maker can be a good option for that. The editing capabilities within YouTube are also pretty extensive. They're getting a lot better. So, you know, again, I would recommend, if it's really something simple that you're trying to do, check out some of those free options from YouTube to iMovie, Windows Movie Maker. And then if you're on your phone, there's a lot of different apps available. There's probably more apps than anything. And those I don't have a lot of experience with, so I can't speak to them in too much detail, but I know there are a ton of them. There's one from Adobe Premiere, Premiere Rush. I think it's still available, if I'm not mistaken. Which, I mean, I would only recommend maybe checking that one out because I have a lot of experience with Adobe Premiere, so I know it's a pretty robust and reliable product. But once you get into those, you know, those paid products, they can be a lot more, the learning curve is a lot more steep, right? Because there's a lot more options, there's more buttons, there's just, it can get pretty technical pretty quickly. So I'd say, you know, if you're just getting started, check out some of those free ones and push the limitations on those until you need to explore some other options. Procreate is great, someone says. So I haven't heard of that one, but yeah, maybe check that out. That's a recommendation from Patrice. Procreate. Procreate. Cool. Are there any other questions before we wrap this up? Someone asked, blogs seem to not get a lot of mention these days, perhaps more of a 2010 thing as opposed to a 2020 thing. No, I think blogs are still really important. You know, as I said, we talked a lot about blogs as a content strategy within our SEO workshop. So I think definitely blogs are still an important part of your website, or can be an important part of your marketing plan. And video incorporated into your blog can certainly be a great addition as well. So I definitely recommend that if it's something that you're considering. So I think that's it for all the questions. So I want to say thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. I hope that you found this informative. I hope that we were able to get you inspired to create some awesome video content. And once again, feel free to reach out, and I'm still around for free service and support with Digital Main Street, and happy to help anyone with your marketing. If you have any questions, if you need any support, I'm around. Digital Main ST at collingwood.ca again. And tune in to our Tuesday live webinars, or live videos, Tuesday at 10 a.m. And I will actually look into the question about paid video subscriptions. I really love that idea. So let's work on that. And we have another webinar coming up next week as well about local business success stories. So check out our Facebook page. We'll be posting about that, the registration for that. And I think that's it. That's all my plugs, all the information I got for today. So I'm going to wrap it up there and say thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day, everyone. All right. Take care.